What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the show. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Nice to have you along for the ride. And oh my goodness gracious, what a busy little Monday we had. Holy Stromboli. We got some Phillies news. We got the Flyers winning. We got this little cold I have increasing in power. Nick Sirianni addressing the Philadelphia media, of course, and Shaq Leonard joining the Eagles linebacking core. What a busy day. Wait, and Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre addressed the media. Good times. For the first time since reports of his accident, said he wishes his life wasn't like the Truman Show. We'll get into all that and more on today's program, but what a busy day. Let's start it off with Shaq Leonard right out of the Colin Thomson's going to join the show as well. Free agent right now, NFL free agent. Local product, went to Archbishop Wood. Went to the Temple University, played for the Carolina Panthers, currently an NFL free agent tight end, spent training camp with the Chicago Bears. I think even in this interview, he's got a little Chicago Bears T-shirt on, or a sweatshirt. But anyway, Colin Thomson will join us because I wanted to ask him about this whole fatigue thing. And I want to make this abundantly clear. I don't care if the Philadelphia Eagles had a bye month as opposed to a bye week before they played the San Francisco 49ers, okay? I don't care. They were not winning that game. With the 49ers team that I saw go out there on the field, the game plan that the Eagles had, the execution that the Eagles had, the, personnel that the Eagles had, they were not beating the San Francisco 49ers in that matchup. So I'm not blaming fatigue. I am curious about fatigue. And one thing I'm very careful with in the position I'm in is to not ever act like or talk like I was ever a player in the NFL. So I wanted to make sure I got somebody who played in the NFL to comment on the whole idea of fatigue, because I see it in social media. I see it on social media, people talking about, the schedule got them. That schedule got them. They played a lot of football. And the 49ers, oh, man, they were coming into this game fresh and played since Thanksgiving. And you know what? I even brought that up going into the game, just as an aside. Not a major deciding factor. I said it's something that always has my attention. And the extreme case I brought up was after the Odell Beckham catch, where the Cowboys lost to the Giants, the Eagles played in Dallas on Thanksgiving against that same Cowboys team that didn't get back home until the wee small hours of Monday morning. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they got another game. The Cowboys weren't winning that game, and the Eagles and Mark Sanchez and the Chip Kelly Eagles blew out the Dallas Cowboys. Then later in the season, Dallas Cowboys came into Philadelphia, and they beat the Eagles. Go figure. But I do try to keep in mind that rest like that matters. A quick turnaround like that matters. But not when you've had a full week between games. And I don't care that you just came off of 2 games on a short week. So I'm not blaming it, but I am curious about it. And I'm careful not to tell you about what a player is going through. Because one thing, I'm not a player. Spoiler alert, unless you count freshman year at Archbishop Wood High School. Not a player. Not a player. So I want to get Colin Thomson's take on all that, and he'll join us coming up in a little bit. Nick Sirianni does talk about the run game, but I do want to go back to the Shaq Leonard story here. I'm starting to hear this kind of fake take, and I always try to address this fake take with you guys. The people that are anti-Shaq Leonard, it wasn't going to make a difference. He's hurt. He's not 100%. He's not going to help you out and all that stuff. And you're looking at him to be your savior. Nobody is looking to Shaq Leonard as a savior of the Philadelphia Eagles. First off, the Eagles are 10-2 and in the driver's seat to secure the number 1 spot in the NFC and the first round bye in the playoffs and home field advantage, yada, yada, yada. They're in the driver's seat. They don't necessarily right now need a savior. They need help. That's it. They need help. They need an upgrade. Shaq Leonard, I believe, is helpful and an upgrade. Savior, no. Helpful, upgrade, absolutely. And no matter what Nick Sirianni wants to tell you about how much he likes what he saw from Christian Ellis, no matter what he wants to tell you about how much he likes his linebacking core, all that's out the window. You made a deal yesterday to ensure that you're going to be better in your next game. Now, hopefully he's going to be ready to play against the Dallas Cowboys. I would assume he is going to play against the Dallas Cowboys. I feel like him signing yesterday, Monday, gives him that full week leading up to the game. It's this Sunday night, and he's going to have the opportunity to play in that game. I don't think he's going to need to be a quick turnaround. It's not like he was in Ndamukong Suh or Linval Joseph, where he was just, just taking a nap for the first 11 games of the season, 12 games of the season, excuse me. He's going to be ready to go. Just got to learn the playbook. And that's all he's got to do. That it might not take that. It might take a little bit of time. But as far as being ready to play, I think he's going to be ready to play come Sunday night. As far as what you're getting in Shaq Leonard, we all know the resume. 3-time All-Pro, Defensive Rookie of the Year. We know about the interceptions. Man has just gone bonkers on interceptions. The official number for him in his career is pretty much insane for a linebacker, especially. You're looking at a guy who's got 12 picks. He's got a year where he had 5 picks. That was his second All-Pro bid. Very aggressive. One of the things Colin Thomson talks about, he talks about a scrimmage that they had, not a scrimmage, a joint practice that they had when he was with Carolina, and he just said Shaq Leonard is just the guy that will try to punch the ball out, and if he misses the ball, he's breaking a rib. Like, that's just kind of how he is. That's how aggressive he is. And for a team that needs to make up some ground in the turnover ratio there, turnover battle, Shaq Leonard could help tremendously with that. But why do I trust that Shaq Leonard, that the Eagles are getting a healthy, aggressive Shaq Leonard? Because Nick Sirianni has more connections in the Colts front office and the Colts coaching staff, i.e. Shane Steichen, that he is going to uncover whether or not something's really wrong with this guy. The Dallas Cowboys, sure, they have connections, but not like Nick Sirianni has connections. Here's Nick Sirianni yesterday talking about the acquisition of Shaq Leonard. How many people Shaq already knows here, how many people Nick knows in Indianapolis, and what type of Shaq Leonard you're expecting here in Philly.
So we're confident in the player we're getting. We're confident in the person we're getting. And that's not as, sometimes it's different because you're secondhand asking guys questions about somebody. And you ask the people that like, if I had never been in Indy, I'd still ask Shane, hey, what do you think? How can he help us, this and that? Well, I get to ask Shane that question. I get to ask, some of their defensive coaches that question that I've worked with before. And I have my own, feel of how the player is, right? And not just me. I remember when I was FaceTiming him last week, I'm like, I was talking to him, and then I put the phone on Marcus Brady, and Marcus started talking to him. Then I put the phone on Jason Michael, and Jason started talking to him. Then I put the camera on Kevin Patullo, and Kevin started talking to him, right? And so, we all have that relationship with him as a player. And so, again, we know we're getting the right person, right leader, right, with all that. And we still have confidence and from the tape that he still can play. And he's been a high level player in this league for a very long time. 18 his first year in. And so, that's a long time to be a high level 3-time All-Pro player. And so still has a knack to take the ball away, still has that knack to run and hit the ball carrier, still has that length that he had, to make throws hard in the passing lane. So excited about the player we're getting. I don't want to make there any mistake about it. I like our linebackers and
liar. I'm sure you like him. I'm sure the swell fellas, Hell, I like the idea of a guy like Christian Ellis working his ass off in the preseason, earning a spot on the roster. I like a guy like Ben Von Sumeren, right? It's supposed to be this physical presence, supposed to have all the raw talent that we've talked about in the preseason, right? Nicholas Morrow, hey, hell of a year there last year with the Bears, leading tackler for them. Good hustle to you. Coming over here, had a 3-sack game for him earlier in the season. Great stuff. Not good enough. Zach Cunningham has been the most pleasant surprise for the Eagles linebacking core. The most pleasant surprise for the Eagles linebacking core. And now I feel like you have to say this nowadays. I'm not including Hassan Reddick as a linebacker. He's an edge rusher. So I want to make sure I differentiate that. So yeah. I'm very happy with this signing. Not a savior, but an upgrade. Very happy with the Shaq Leonard signing. As far as why he's not in Indy anymore, back surgery, playing time. Didn't like that he was getting his role cut. I don't need Shaq Leonard to go out there and be an all-pro. I need Shaq Leonard to go out there and be better than Christian Ellis, be better than the potential of Ben Von Summeren for the rest of this season, and be better than Nicholas Morrow. That might be difficult, but I at least have confidence that Shaq Leonard will be aggressive and go after the ball, and that he'll be able to make a tackle. This will be a snap count thing. This will be easing him into it. This will be trying to make sure. This will be making sure that you have him in the most crucial parts of the game, so that you don't have a guy like Deebo Samuel running 48 yards down the middle of the field after your linebacker, who is assigned to him, missed his tackle on a number of occasions, I might add. That's what this is, and I'm happy to see it. I also love that the Cowboys wanted him. They didn't get him. And as far as anyone else doubting the version of Shaq Leonard that you're going to get, all pro-wise, okay, let me just throw that out the window immediately. That would be the savior type of idea. If he was still an all-pro, I'd be, I'm savior. You're saving the defense. Not there at all. You just heard from Nick Sirianni there about all the people he talked to about getting Shaq Leonard in here. Great. Do you honestly believe that Howie Roseman isn't going to do all the work possible to learn what version of Shaq Leonard you're going to be getting here in Philly? Do you think if he was really that banged up and unable to help the Eagles at all, do you think Howie Roseman would be knocking on that door? I don't think so. And for anyone that's going to tell you, oh, well, what's Shane Steichen going to say? You're just trying to not have it. You're just trying to unload him anyway. Not the case. You get nothing. Nothing happens with the Colts after Shaq Leonard's off the books. He could have signed anywhere, and it wouldn't have mattered. He could have not signed, and it wouldn't have mattered to the Colts anymore. I don't see any other way to look at this other than a positive. Sorry, the fake takers out there might go, you expect me to be the savior. Nope, not happening. Nobody's saying that. Nobody's saying that, except the people that are saying it when nobody is saying he's going to be the savior. I think everyone's looking at this in their right mind, and they understand what the hell's going on when you pick up somebody off a waiver wire following your 12th game of the season. I am really trying to get over this loss to the San Francisco 49ers. I was out a little bit yesterday, and just one person came up to me, and they were wearing a 49ers sweatshirt, and they were really puffing their chest out. And they just like were looking at me like, yeah, you know. And I'm like, hey, congratulations. Great win. Let me show you the difference between my fan base and your fan base. You beat our ass. The end. Not going to cry over it. Not going to whine about it until possibly meeting again in the NFC Championship game. But this loss is sticking with me. And I know it's only Tuesday. But one of the things I just can't get over is that you never want to see your football team, especially on your field, on their field. You never want to see them look like they don't belong with the other team. And they did not belong at all with the San Francisco 49ers. And I saw some people referencing the Big Dom instance. Who was it that I saw wrote up? I think it was Pro Football Talk. About how Dom DeSandro's incident on the sideline galvanized the 49ers. No, it was Sports Illustrated. And how after that instance, the 49ers just rolled. The 49ers were rolling. I don't look at that situation with Dom DeSandro and say that had anything to do. The Eagles scored a touchdown after that. Dom DeSandro was the most physical person on the Eagles at that time. I don't have as huge an issue as some other people do about this. I know the NFL is investigating it, but I don't look at Dom DeSandro as a guy that galvanized the San Francisco 49ers and pushed them over the edge to dominate the Eagles. They were dominating the Eagles already. So to me, I don't look at that and go, well, that's the reason they lost, or even a big reason they lost. It's a small ripple in a pretty big pond. So I don't even look at it as anything to do with what happened in the game. But what really sticks with me in this game is just that the Eagles just didn't look like they belonged at all. And what has continued to stick with me this season with the Eagles is their inability to commit to a run game with their running backs. There are some stats out there that the Eagles being one of the leading in attempts. Tush pushes, brotherly shoves, Jalen Hurts quarterback draws. When you have an athletic quarterback like this, a very mobile quarterback like this, like Jalen Hurts, you're going to use him. Again, with the phrase has always been, embrace the uniqueness of his game. And one of the things Jalen Hurts has done well in his career to this point is be able to run the football. This year it's been rather spotty, I'll say, in terms of when he has taken off with the football. Quarterback sneaks aside. But one of the things that is amazing to me is that the Eagles will not they'll trade for a guy like DeAndre Swift, use DeAndre Swift early in the season, commit to Kenny Gainwell as their 2-minute running back, and then not commit to the run in general in a game. And it's one of the first things that gets abandoned in a game. There have been games this season, whether they be against the Minnesota Vikings, whether they be against the Buccaneers earlier on, where the Eagles just kind of shifted to a run-first team and dominated. Moved the football down the field with great ease. Jason Kelsey, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, all these guys going up there and just blowing the defensive line off the ball. And then it just goes away. Cam Jurgens misses, 4 or 5 weeks? All of a sudden, run game, forget about it. It's not possible. Can't use run game. They can't do it. DeAndre Swift got 1 carry in the first game of the season, and by week 4 was second, I think, only to Christian McCaffrey in the NFL in rushing. What the hell? And then that just goes away? That doesn't make any sense to me. So one of the things Nick Sirianni got into yesterday was the idea of actually in trying to control a game, especially if you notice that if your defense is getting blown off the field. All the more reason why the Eagles should have gone for it on that 4th and 2 late in the third quarter. Your defense wasn't stopping anybody. So give them a break for a minute. Maybe try to run the football. Here's Nick Sirianni on finally admitting something. This is actually something substantial. Acknowledging the problem of not being able to run the football. This has been a turning point, and I'll get to it after this, but this has been a turning point in the Eagles season in years past. Here's Nick Sirianni talking about establishing the run.
We have to establish the run game. We know we have to be better in the run game. And that's we just have to be have things that where you get on the positive side. There was a couple times where we got behind the sticks. That doesn't mean you still can't run it in that situation, but we got to be better as coaches, devoting ourselves to the run game to take pressure off everybody. And so, so as we looked at it yesterday, there's no doubt that we got to do that. But part of the circumstance of the game led to the other things with DeAndre not playing as much as Kenny. But we know to get to where we want to go. And really all we think about is this next game, but we have to be better better in the run game. And get more runs called, to take some pressure off everybody. We got to do better there.
We got to get more runs called. Nick Sirianni is the head coach of this football team. Brian Johnson is the offensive coordinator. Do you two talk? You guys have met, right? Can you hear each other in your headsets? I just want to make sure. When Nick Sirianni is designing a game plan, how often is this team is just not good at stopping the run, so we're going to make sure we run that football. How often does that happen? Because it feels like that should happen a lot more often. And last year, and at one point the year before, when the Eagles were not committing to the run, and you heard time and time again the excuse was, a lot of our runs come out of the RPO, and then it ends up being a pass on that option. How about a run? And then maybe the check or the audible to it is another run play, just maybe a different direction, different blocking scheme. Hey, there's an idea. As I said all of last year, maybe you take away the P and the O in the RPO and you just stick with the R part of it. You call that play. And Jalen Hurts, he sees something in the line of scrimmage, doesn't like it, wants to check something else, then maybe a different run play to a different direction. That'd be nice. That seems like it might be a good idea. But the Eagles it's a crazy thing because they're it's one of those situations, again, where numbers don't lie, but they do deceive. Like if I told you right now that the Eagles are 8th in the NFL, which they are in rushing attempts this season, 8th in the league. Oh, well, I mean, they're one of the teams that commit most to the run. Yeah, but, a lot of those are Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is 3rd in the NFL in rushing touchdowns this year. Let's not forget that either. So when you look at it like that, it kind of skews it when you know that a lot of those attempts are Jalen Hurts. When it comes to yards per attempt, they're only at 4.1, which isn't terrible at all. It's the top 15 in the NFL. So not great, but not terrible. Middle of the road. But you would assume that if you stuck with it, with your running backs especially, you would eventually get that home run. And that's why a lot of times when you hear about teams that do commit to the run, oh, you know what? If you just stop that 30-yard run, that 40-yard run, that 50-yard run, then it's a totally different ballgame. Yeah, but that's why you committed to the run, because that play is lying and waiting. And you're also bleeding the clock. You're controlling the clock. You're controlling the tempo of the game. So many benefits that we hardly ever get to enjoy, because the Eagles are not a team that looks to invest in the run game. And look, this goes all the way to the top, folks. One of the things that haunts my dreams about the Eagles is that article that came out. Jeff McClain wrote a piece on it. Zach Berman wrote a piece on it. About the conversation that was had between Jeffrey Lurie and Doug Peterson after the Eagles came back to beat the Packers in Lambeau, and they did it by running the football. And the conversation after the game was Jeffrey Lurie saying, "Oh, why didn't you run? Why'd you run this so much? Why didn't you pass the ball?" Now that could be as innocent as, "Hey, I'm curious as to why," not making a judgment. The way it's being portrayed, the way that conversation was portrayed, as if it was a judgment. And Doug Peterson's like, "Dude, I just won at Lambeau." Okay? Who cares how it happened? We did it. Do you need to see 30, 35, 40 pass attempts in order to revel in a win? Yes, we won, but I don't like the way we won. That kind of thing. I think this Eagles team can be a great running team. Great running team. 4.1 yards per carry. That ain't terrible. Right now in the NFL, the team that's leading with yards per attempt is the Miami Dolphins. The Ravens are right after that. And Jonathan Gannon and his Arizona Cardinals are at 4.7. Detroit Lions are at 4.6. A little bit more of a commitment from the Eagles, and they're right up there with those teams. I thoroughly believe they have that kind of talent on this team beyond, even with Kenny Gainwell. I mean, DeAndre Swift, first and foremost, should be getting more touches than anybody. There should never be a game like this past game where the Eagles all of a sudden were giving more carries to Kenny Gainwell, more touches to Kenny Gainwell. Don't like that. Don't like that a little bit. And that's one of the other things Nick Sirianni was asked about in yesterday's press conference. How does Kenny Gainwell get the ball more than DeAndre Swift? Well, we were a little bit of a rush, and he's our 2-minute back. Okay, how about the best players play? How about your playmakers get an opportunity to make a play? Coaches say all the time, Nick Sirianni says all the time, yeah, we got to put our players in a better position. That's not just an Andy Reid line from years ago. That's a present-day line. It's a current line. And Nick Sirianni, talking about the run game, and I was going to make that call, listening to him talk about putting players in a better position to win. Well, DeAndre Swift on the field. That's a good start. DeAndre Swift has the ball in his hands. That's a better position than him off the field and not having the ball in his hands. That's one position I'd look at thoroughly there. Frustrating to listen to Nick Sirianni yesterday, watch Nick Sirianni yesterday, and try to come up with reasons as to how the hell they got beat up as bad as they did and what are they going to do going forward. Because here's the thing. I got confidence in the Eagles bouncing back, but I'm not taking the Cowboys lightly. And I never take the Cowboys lightly. I take them lightly when you talk about them in the playoffs, but in the regular season, they've held their own. To say the absolute least. Dak Prescott, 8-4 against the Eagles all time? I'd say, and they came pretty damn close to beating the Eagles last time. That was a game you had to take seriously. Now you're going into Dallas. The huge chunk of confidence, for me at least, that I have, if I was to look at the confidence I have in them winning this game, and I think they will win this game, most of that confidence comes from the fact that the Eagles are not barely a 500 team. Seattle Seahawks are barely a 500 team. An over 500 team at the time they played the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. The Cowboys barely being able to beat that team that was barely over 500 means that, yes, any team that's better than 500, they will struggle against. The Eagles are very much over 500. The Eagles are still a very talented team. Defensively, they have a lot to make up for. Because one of the things that the San Francisco 49ers did is what the San Francisco 49ers have done to everybody, which is run a hell of a lot of motion. George Kittle, motion in the backfield. He gets a little throw out in the flat, takes it 32 yards. Deebo Samuel, hell of a lot of motion. Christian McCaffrey, hell of a lot of motion. It was like watching the Super Bowl almost from a motion standpoint of how much the Eagles had no idea how to handle it. Huge adjustment that Sean Desai has to have, and he'll address the media today, I think it is, or tomorrow, as far as what this Eagles team needs to do to make sure they can combat all that motion being thrown in their face. All right, one of the other storylines. Oh, before I get to Colin Thomson, I mentioned a couple other things on a very busy Monday. First off, congratulations to Philadelphia Flyers. I hate the Pittsburgh Penguins. They beat the Penguins yesterday, 2-1 in overtime. Sean Couturier coming up with the game-winning goal in overtime. You love to see that. Carter Hart came up with 31 saves. It wasn't the win. Way to go there, Carter Hart. Sixers Kelly Oubre addressed the media yesterday. Could play in tomorrow's game. Kelly Oubre said that when he was asked about it and people not believing him, he said it was a traumatic experience for him and his family, what he had to go through. People worrying about videotape are worrying about the wrong thing. And he wishes his life wasn't like the Truman Show where everybody could watch and make a judgment. One thing that I've defended Kelly Oubre on with this is he doesn't know Philadelphia. If he's getting hit by a car, and I originally thought, oh, he got hit by a car, the ambulance came and met him at the intersection, and he went to the hospital. If that was the case, if that was the story, I would probably, and then there's no video surveillance of it, then I would be like, how is there no video surveillance of this? This is weird. I don't get it. But the fact that he got hit, probably in an area he didn't know, obviously you hit by a car, you're not really thinking straight at that time. You're thinking about, okay, am I lucky to be alive? And then he goes home. Then he's at home for an hour or so, and he's having breathing problems, his side is hurting, and then he goes to the hospital. The way that lines up, and we know he went home, we saw the ring cam footage, right? The fact that he went home first, probably couldn't remember where he was. I still think there should be footage of somebody speeding away from that area anyway, but maybe he just had no idea. I don't know how far he walked to get home. There's an element to the story that is definitely believable. Oh, that's what I'm saying about Kelly Oubre. So I'm not on the bandwagon of let's try to disprove this. If this is what the guy says happened, I could see it. I just am happy that a guy that was playing with so much electricity and so much energy early on in the season for this team is going to be back because it ultimately makes the Sixers better. Feel bad that he went through this experience, whether it's exactly as it went down or not. The bottom line, the guy was hurt. I'm glad that he's back. From solely a basketball perspective, I'm happy he could be back in the lineup as early as tomorrow night. So that's what I'm excited for. And then Rob Thomson got extended through the 2025 season. I'm not too happy with Philly Rob. I don't like Philly Rob right now. I don't know what he did since the I almost said the World Series. I don't know what he did since he signed the extension. I don't know. I don't know what he's done to earn through 2025. Okay. He's not a lame duck manager for 2 years, I guess. All right. Cool. Here we are. He's got a lot to show me. Got a lot to show a lot of us. Hey, yes, the team plays pretty well, but those decisions in the NLCS, against the Arizona Diamondbacks, Kimbrel, good God, man. Twice? Ooh, baby. Taking Sanchez out as early as he took him out. Not cool. Not cool. All right. Let's jump on the Roth Orthopedics guest line. Talk to our friend Colin Thomson. Try to get an interesting a player's perspective on that whole idea of fatigue, what Shaq Leonard could do for this team, and where the Eagles go from here. Without further ado, Colin Thomson. We don't have it? We don't have it? Can I bring you in, Jim? Sorry. Can't hear. Jim, can I bring you in? I don't know what's happening. Just give you time. You just need some time. You just need a minute. Okay. Oh, here's what I can do for you, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you how you could win up to $1,000 in redeemable cash bonus. That's right. Use MyBookie, mybookie.ag for all they have to offer when it comes to the betting world. And when I say the betting world, oh no, ladies and gentlemen, I don't just mean sports. No. I mean everything. I mean politics. Oh my goodness gracious! Did I just say that? Yes, I did. It's true. You can bet on politics. You could bet on television. Favorite TV shows. Watch those, bet on them, all that fun stuff. Oh, yeah. MyBookie has it all. MyBookie.ag. And when you sign up at MyBookie.ag, make sure you use promo code Farzy to see if you can get yourself a cash deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And yes, of course, you could bet on basketball. You could bet on football. You could bet on hockey. You could bet on it all with MyBookie.ag. So take advantage of all they have to offer at MyBookie.ag. When you use promo code Farzy, that's promo code Farzy at mybookie.ag for all they have to offer and get that cash deposit bonus up to $1,000 with mybookie.ag. Also, let's not forget about our great friends at the Game Time app. Game Time app is so much fun. When you want to buy tickets, you want to make sure that you get a good seat. You have seat view that you can take in right there. You have everything you can take in. You need to make sure you're not sitting behind some pole at one of the older stadiums. You're not sitting behind the stage at a concert or any kind of event. Game Time app, gametime.co has all you need. At Game Time on X, at Game Time app on Instagram, TikTok, at Game Time, gametime.co. Let's imagine this. You want to go to a concert, you want to go to an event, you want to make sure that you have a very trusted experience with somebody that's going to provide you a great ticket and a real ticket. Talk about a time that maybe you wanted to go to a concert, you need to get a ticket in the last second. Game Time app is where it's at. And when you download the Game Time app to your phone, you create an account and you use promo code Farzy for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, you create an account and you redeem this code, Farzy, F-A-R-Z-Y, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed at the Game Time app. All right, without further ado, here's our friend, Colin Thomson. The North Phoenix guest line, a good friend, NFL tight end, Archbishop Wood Viking, Temple Owl. Yeah, all those things. Mr. Colin Thomson joins us. What's going on, Colin?
Mark, it's great to be here. There's so much going on in this football world. It never ends between college and pro. There's so much to talk about. High school playoffs are going on too. So all's good, man. Love and life.
That's great. I got to ask you right out of the gate here. Not for Long Media. Always seeing the clips on social media. Everyone's got to be following Not for Long Media. Colin does a phenomenal job. Torrey Smith, the big time guest. Is Torrey Smith doing a show for Not for Long Media? What's going on there?
Yeah. Torrey is. He's awesome. Yeah, Torrey joined us, let's say a couple months ago. Rasheed Bailey, receiver, went to Del Val.
Sure, yeah.
Eagles. He's in the CFL. She was talking to Rasheed, said, hey, I need to work with a media company. Who should I talk to? You know, the former player thing, current, I'm still actively an NFL free agent. So training, I'll train this year and next year and kind of assess how things are towards the end of next year. That's kind of where I'm at in my life. But that always helps, those conversations. And I know a lot of people that know Torrey. Torrey knows a lot of people that know me. So, yeah, it's great. It's great to have him. It's been fun. He's super busy coaching. And, the guy he's a wealth of knowledge, and his show's doing great.
That's great. That's great to hear. He is honestly one of my favorite interviews ever. I got to interview him, a bunch of times with NBC, and then I got to interview him on the radio. And it's one of those things when athletes, and this, are shockingly honest. Like they're not trying to protect anybody. They're not like worried about feelings. He's doing it in a gentlemanly fashion, but it's just like, yeah, well, here's the deal. This is it. There's no sugar. There's no sugar on these words from Torrey Smith. And I love that about him.
I always wondered, if I was a first or second round pick and I won a couple of Super Bowls, I have a couple people why aren't you like Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce? I'm like, well, first off, they can literally say whatever they want. Other than a couple words you cannot say in this world, they could say anything they want. And they're not losing their job, period. They're really not, so that's been the hardest part for me. as like an active player navigating the landscape of like still trying to move the needle and like do well in the media space, but also like not burn a bridge, which is kind of unique and a fun challenge. So I love it, but yeah, you can't just say anything you want. You cannot, unless you work for Barstool or your name's Jason or Travis Kelce.
It's kind of, understood. Yeah. Colin, I got to ask this question because I need to talk to a player here. And look, I shouldn't be talking about fatigue in any sense here. My athletic days, I should say, are far behind me. Okay. When it comes to the word fatigue for an NFL player, it's not an excuse by any means for this game, but I know a lot of people are referencing a tough Eagles schedule, aside from a extremely tough, probably best team in the NFL opponent in the San Francisco 49ers. But when you talk about a 95, snap count of 95 going up against the Bills, an overtime game against the Bills, a rain-soaked game against the Bills, a rain-soaked game against the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City, and then coming back to play another 2 games here. Obviously, this one here against San Francisco 49ers, the toughest one. How much does fatigue play into how a team plays on a short schedule and the 3 games in 14 days? There's going to be 3 games in 13 days.
Yeah, so there's tons to unpack there. My first reaction, I'm just going to go with that, is it's a long season and there's ebbs and flows. Right, let's go back to when the Niners lost 3 in a row and everybody wanted to bury them, and that was all over. And oh man, Brock Purdy, I don't know if he's the guy. And like 3 games later, he's like in the MVP discussion, like he's the best quarterback stats wise in the NFL right now. So that it just comes and goes, right? There's times where the Eagles early in the season running the football, they literally look like the best running football team ever. And now they don't really run it that much, right? Like, so to answer your question about fatigue, it comes and goes, but you don't feel well after the first day of training camp. You just don't. Like you walk on that field of training camp, and there's a little. If you're a physical player, at that point in time, that's the best you're going to feel for the next 9 months, 8 months. So there's fatigue built in for sure. The good organizations, the new cutting edge ones, really take care of their players, and most of them are around the top of the NFL. There's some that are in the top of the NFL. Like we talked about earlier, there's certain things I cannot say. There's some in the top of the NFL that really don't take great care of their players, but the vast majority around the top of the league, they take good care of their players. Walkthroughs, no shoulder pad after like week 4. So I'm sure the sports science department with the Eagles are figuring out how they're going to try to navigate this situation. Like Blankenship, I think with special teams with the Bills played over 110 snaps. That's just crazy. Like that's full sprint, 7 seconds, 110 times, and then collisions. So I know I'm all over the place, but that's such a loaded question and a great question because that's where the full organization gets involved, from your nutritionist to your training staff to your head coach saying, I trust these players enough that we don't have to hit in practice. We don't really need to add a lot of tread on the tire in practice. That's where key veterans come in too. Like, I don't even know if Jason Kelce and Lane Johnson really practice. Who knows if they do? I doubt it. Like these guys that had a lot of tread on the tire. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack, but I think fatigue plays a role in any season. I mean, the Niners came across the country, and I get it. I understand they had some days off, but
yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, the schedule is the schedule. You got to meet a face. Everyone has different ebbs and flows of the schedule test. And then one thing we're going to get into here too is the scheduling. And you said before really on air, like, man, I miss these 1 o'clock starts. I found out when I was with the Panthers, I'm like, man, we are spoiled. We're all 1 o'clocks because we weren't good. We were not good. The only time we played in prime time was when we got flexed out of a Sunday game late in the year to a Saturday game, like the December game we played in Green Bay. I'll never forget that at night. That was so cool. And then, like it was Thursday night football. So the Eagles, they'll play 4:15. They play 8:30. You're on the road, 8:30 game. You don't get back till Monday morning until, I don't know, 5, 6 a.m., 7 a.m. So like when you're good, these teams, the ones that are really good, like can handle that really well too. So I know it's a lot of baked in stuff there, but fatigue's a thing for sure.
What do players do? You mentioned, the shoulder pad, not having the shoulder pads. What do players do? Does everyone have their own individual routine when you go through a week or a tough period of schedule where you got a lot to pack in a short amount of time? Yeah, so I'll just kind of take you through what like maybe my week was or what some guys' weeks are. So you come in, you play the game Sunday. Monday, I would get in
Monday, there'd be a couple things that would go on, but just say Monday, you're like trying to do a lot of volume, which is crazy because you just played a ton on Sunday. But like movement is medicine. So you do like some like light jogging and high knees and like all these calisthenics to say like loose and limber and light. Maybe it's a pool. I would do a pool workout too, where I'm just like doing it in the pool and you're trying to get the soreness out of your body. You're eating well. You're trying to sleep. If you're away and you got in at 5 a.m., like you're all jacked up, your sleep's all screwed up. So you try to sleep, get up and do some movement, get going, you get a lift in, and then you like shut it down in the afternoon, and then you shut it down on Tuesday. I would do the pool on Tuesday too, maybe get a massage, and then chiropractor on Wednesday after practice, work with a physical therapist every single day to help movement patterns. Like every day you have something going on other than just a basic football schedule.
Okay,
like
fair enough.
So I'm not going to get too far into it because we don't have the time.
Right.
But the bottom line is like guys have people they work with inside the building. Guys have people they work with outside the building. And it's you don't stop. Like your days off are not rest days. Like you are grinding to get your body back to practice Wednesday and then to practice Thursday.
Understood. So look, we'll get into everything else, but this one specific question. Did the Eagles to you look fatigued, look tired? I know they look like a lot of things, but did they look like that to you against the 49ers?
No, I think circumstance maybe got people to think that way. Like there's this whole debate, right? The Eagles like, oh man, we tackling the whole nine. And I get it. They miss tackles. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, like when you bring pressure and you play man-to-man coverage, if you miss a tackle, there's no one there to make it, right? And you saw that. Eagles ball pressure. They run the rocket screen out to Debo. He makes one guy miss. He gets 2 blocks. I don't care who's playing defense. I don't care if it's the old Seahawks where all those corners could tackle. That ball is out the gate. First off, Debo Samuel looks unbelievable, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, you think he's getting caught? Like he almost looks like Percy Harvin. Like, I mean, Debo.
Wow. Yeah.
Debo's better than Percy, right?
Yeah.
Like as a pro. But he looked like college Percy Harvin, where like he was a video game. So no,
they just okay. So I'm glad you're saying that because I don't want to fall back on that as any type
I don't
of
think it is. I have nothing to do with fatigue. I think it's to do with like the end of the day, like what are the offensively for the Eagles? What are they? Because I don't think week to week you don't know. And I thought that was a positive in the beginning of the season. I'm like, teams load up the box, they're going to throw the ball on you. Teams play like two high safeties because they're worried about stuff. We're going to run it. Okay, great. You're going to do all that stuff. We're going to spread you out. And if it's the look, Jalen's going to run it and score like he did a walk-off against the Bills. They could do all that stuff, but it's almost like they're too good at too much. And now it's like they're trying to find and create magic. So to me, I really think, man, they need to just get back to pounding the rock. I do. And the problem is the Niners are built that way. They play that style. Really, that's what the Niners are. And then people are wide open in the pass game because of it. So it goes back to the fatigue, right? Yeah, they look fatigued because how many runs did the Niners have in that game? I mean, they were running the rock. That's tiresome. You're not just like rushing the passer and getting 4 fresh defensive linemen in the game. So it's like chicken or the egg. But, it always goes back on like scheme and like leadership and like what you believe in as an organization. And I know there's a lot here. There's so much to unpack with this game. But at the end of the day, I think it's probably the best thing to happen to the Eagles personally.
Oh, okay. So all right. So that's another thing people are trying to take out of this game. That silver lining of, this is a wake up call. I
don't believe in that.
Oh, you don't believe in that? Okay. So what is
like drama? You know
okay.
Okay. Like the outside world of like trap game and like wake up calls and like all these like terms that like we create for stuff. I don't believe in all that.
Okay.
Because like you're telling me Jalen Hurts didn't prepare hard for this game. You think he needs a wake up call? No. Do you think Lane Johnson does? No. Do you think Darius, you think Slay, you think he needs to wake up? No, he's a pro. I mean, these guys worked their asses off and they got beat. Did they not play with effort? No, they play with effort. Maybe they're going to make mistakes, right? In anything, but football, they just get magnified. When Debo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey touch the ball, you're like, holy cow. And Kittle, like this guy's the best tight end, I think, in the NFL, better than Kelsey, because he does so much more. He does the whole blocking and he's a beast. I think it's a wake-up call in the sense that, like, we need to believe in what we do. We need to stick with what we do. Like, Sean Desai's defense is bend, don't break. That's what they believe in. That's Big Fangio. It's a shell coverage. They'll play some cover 3, and they're going to keep everything in front of them, and they're going to get home with 4, and they're going to believe in stopping the run, bend, don't break. They've been bringing more pressure. Everyone loves that. But there was a point in period of time there when Buffalo was driving down the field at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, And you're like, oh boy, they may run this clock out here. But they played bend, don't break. They stuck with what they did, forced Buffalo to make a mistake. Eagles went down, walk off, tied the game, right? So my point to all this is like, I think it's going to force the Eagles to, in the wake up call term of like, okay, what do we do best? And we're going to stick with it, and we're not going to apologize for it.
All right, so run the football. I love that idea, and I think they can do it, especially behind this offensive line. DeAndre Swift, Kenny Gainwell. Nick Sirianni spoke at his latest press conference about how Kenny Gainwell's their 2-minute back. To me, what about your best player, or excuse me, your best running back? And I think that's DeAndre Swift. So when you say running the football, who are you running the football with?
It's DeAndre, and those guys are all coming behind it. Now, your 2 minutes back, yeah, it's a little bit different because Kenny may be I mean, perfect world, right? They have all three of those guys are pretty good, but I think Kenny's smaller, more swift, right? He catches the ball probably a little bit better. They all catch it. They're all kind of built the same, though. Like, they're kind of all the same guy, but DeAndre has more of an oomph to him, and he will lay the wood. I think they need to really give a really steady dose of him. I would just do it unapologetically and get it to 3rd and 3, tush push, and then do another tush push and get a first down. I think, too, right? It's just like the issue that you find in Kansas City, and Andy Reid has, I think, sometimes with this, you see it, is you want to put the ball in the hands of your best guy, and that's Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes. And then you have these 3 wideouts you got to get the ball to. And then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, it's 3rd and 8. Like, we just, had a scramble and an incomplete pass, and it's like we're behind the sticks. So it's like the argument I used to make about Andy Reid was like, why did he stop running the ball against the Eagles? Like, they should have kept running it.
It's just one of those
should
things.
Not stop. They should not stop.
It's funny, after all these years with Andy Reid, and I don't want to go down this, this memory lane, but it's just one of those things. After all these years, the default is still throw the football. Default is throw the football. It's not, this is still working for us. Kind of, all right, let's keep with it. But you can definitely still see that. Like, people always talk about the good things that Andy Reid left behind here in terms of philosophy. I think that's one of the things that is not so great about the Andy Reid philosophy still applied here in Philadelphia.
Well, he brought in Peterson, and they brought in Peterson, who's a disciple of his. Mm-hmm. He brought in Sirianni, who's a disciple of really the same kind of regime. So,
concept, sure.
Yeah, it's the same offense.
When you look at this signing of Shaq Leonard, a lot of people that might say that they're against it. I mean, I'm all for it. I think it's not a savior move. It's a upgrade move, and that it shouldn't be that difficult, especially after the game this Eagles team just had against the 49ers. I have confidence he'll be able to tackle. I have confidence that he'll be able to put himself in the right position to make a play for this Eagles defense. So that's why I'm happy and confident that this is a good pickup for the Eagles. But as far as the waiver wire, one of the things that gets said, Colin, is that when someone gets placed on waivers, they don't put good players on waivers. Here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for someone that's better than Christian Ellis. That's what I'm looking for. If they put that guy on waivers, which I think they did with Shaq Leonard, I think the Eagles should jump in, which they did. What's your reaction to Shaq Leonard now being with the Eagles? And also, what surrounds the waiver wire and decisions to put people on that waiver wire?
Okay, so Shaq with the Eagles. If you get a healthy Shaq Leonard, you're getting the best linebacker in the NFL, top 5. Right? Like, but is he healthy? Is he the same? No, he probably would have signed with Dallas, right? They would have signed him. He wouldn't have let him walk out of the building.
Right.
That's what I got out of that there is Dallas's doctors, or I don't know what it was. Maybe playing time. There's always some smoke. You never know what it is, but there's a reason why he left that room in Dallas, because you walk into a building, like, you don't leave it. If you're the guy, they bring you in. They've had Van Der Esch out for the season. Like, they need him too. So that was shocking to me, and maybe a red flag. Who knows? What you get with him is top 5 linebacker in the NFL. He is tall. I played against him in a joint practice with the Colts. I was blown away how big he is. He's like 6'4". I mean, he's huge.
Big dude.
Big, long, lanky. He almost looks like an edge rusher. Like, he's bigger than Hassan Reddick. He's long, lanky, strong. He punches the ball violently. Like, almost like if he misses, you're cracking a rib. So he has that type of like ability, and man-to-man coverage wise, which you saw the Miners really try to take advantage of on the backers. No backers can cover these running backs in the league other than Warner, Leonard, like the guys the Eagles signed. Like, so he's a great player. And it's a great signing. Worst case, you get him for a good playoff run when he gets his legs underneath of him again, and he makes a big play down the stretch when you need him. Plus a veteran. I think that's good too. And then I'll go to the waiver wire. Yeah, the waiver wire thing's interesting. Some teams are trying to save a draft pick, or they don't want to cut these younger players that they like, and that they fear if they cut them, they're going to get signed because they're really trying to stash them on their practice squad. But if you cut a guy, you got 24 hours before you get eligible for practice squad signing. And then the waiver orders, based on a few different things. I think it's draft order, it starts, and then based off how many players you pick up, it gets kind of shifted over time, I believe. But that's why they cut him for some financial issues, I think, with Indy. And he wasn't playing the same. Zaire Frank in Philly, LaSalle and Syracuse guy. He's been their guy there. So, yeah, funky stuff. I don't know why he got cut. Obviously, he wasn't healthy. So that's what I'm saying. There's some smoke here. You don't just end up in Philadelphia if you're the best linebacker in the league for nothing, for zero. So there's some concern. I think personally, I bet you they ease him in a little bit. I know Philly probably want to see him right away.
Yeah.
But I think he needs probably be eased in a little bit. There's something there.
So let's go back to what you said, and this has been a lot of people, what they've been saying about him leaving Dallas. If Dallas really wants him, if everything's A-okay, Dallas isn't letting him leave Dallas. How often would it be up to the player then to say, well, hold on a second, I want to do a little ring shopping, I want to talk to Philadelphia, I want to decide where I think the best opportunity is for me to win, make money, maybe get another year on the deal? I don't know. Is it always true that a player is going to go, they're not going to let that player leave if they really want him?
Well, here's the thing. Agents play a lot in this too. And here's something that I think you're really just sitting here thinking about was he may have been wanted to sign in Philly all along, but his agent said, listen, let's go to Dallas first. Let's give Philly, and again, let me make this crystal clear in here. I have no idea, guys. I'm just playing it devil's advocate from talking to agents over years and just giving a scenario. It's not too far-fetched.
Yeah. No, it's smart. I think it's a smart play.
You have to, right? If you deal with marketing sponsorships, right? Someone gave me X, gave you Y. It's also supply and demand, right? And another week later, you think Philly really wanted them now more than ever? Sure. Maybe they got more incentives in there now more than ever, right? Like let's say this, if I'm his representatives, did they have, and I'll ask you this, Mark, did he have more leverage last week or this week?
That's why it's such a smart play. You're saying this week to answer your question, but
you're playing Christian McCaffrey in the Niners.
Exactly.
And Debo. We're going to do this strategically. We're going to go to Dallas. Okay, that's going to piss people off. And then we're going to play the Niners and C-Mac and literally the best offense in the league. Yesterday, they literally were just picking their poison of who they were going to beat and what the matchup was every single time. That's what they did. That's the brilliance of Kyle Shanahan and how that offense, who I don't understand how they have this team in a salary cap error, functions. Because when they're all healthy, they have never lost if they're all healthy, ever.
Kyle, I'll ask you this. Last thing for me here. When it comes to the Eagles for the rest of the season, what do you see from them? What did you learn from this loss to the 49ers? And what do you think the Eagles learn about their themselves going forward and your expectations, of course?
I think, wow, it's a loaded question. It's a great question.
Oh,
and
yeah.
A lot of people have paused like I have. I think the Eagles are in that crop of Super Bowl contenders, right? Not a hot take, right? And that's fine. And you got to get to the playoffs, and that all that matters. I think home field advantage is amazing, but it's not the end-all, be-all. Obviously, we saw that last night. Or 2 nights ago when this will come out. So my point to all this is what I see for the Eagles is I see great veteran leadership, and I see a coach that empowers that leadership to do amazing things, and I see that happening on this stretch run. This 5-game gauntlet of really good teams they're playing, if you would have said they lost 1 or 2 games, you would be like, awesome, right? Awesome. Yep. So you got a great test in Dallas. You think it's on ready? Reddick's going to be ready to go? I think Jason Kelsey's going to be ready to go. Yeah. So I think they're going to be just fine. And it's the best thing to happen, not because it's going to gallivant them to play harder. No. Reason why it's the best thing is because it's going to say, this is who we are. This is what we do. This is what we believe in. Is everybody ready to roll? All right, we're good. And I think that's sometimes some of the best things that can happen because it's not just always the players, it's the coaches, the front office, it's everything.
Colin, thanks again for joining us. Always appreciate your perspective. Make sure you guys are checking out all things Not For Long Media and, of course, following Colin Thomson on all social media platforms as well. Colin, thanks so much.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you having me.
Whoa, how about that? Great catching up with Colin Thomson. Absolutely great catching up with him. I want to preface something. I want to clarify something. Shaq Leonard, when he was healthy, was the best or one of the best linebackers in the NFL. 3-time All-Pro. It's hard to dispute that. That's when healthy. It was in the context of when healthy. I see people throwing out like Fred Warner here in the chat, and that you would be correct. But when healthy was the context of his answer. So, and I agree with him. But I just don't see that version of Shaq Leonard happening again anytime soon. Unfortunately, maybe. In short spurts, but no, that would be more along the lines of, like I was saying earlier, savior, not upgrade over not good at all. That's what he's an upgrade over. So just to make sure we have that clarification. I did our sponsors already, so I'm going to jump into our chat check here and see how you beautiful people are doing. One person in particular, geez, man. Niners all damn day. Where were you all damn day yesterday? Were you recovering from your celebration for your Super Bowl? Congratulations on that Super Bowl victory of yours. Oh, I'm so sorry. It was a regular season game. Anyway, but yes, congratulations. The Niners kicked the Eagles' ass. No excuses. I was telling you were going to be wrong, and I was wrong. And sometimes, you know what? That happens. I want the Eagles again in the playoffs. This is easy work. All right, you're welcome. Cowboys are easy work. Hey, if you're the Niners, you have every right to be peacocking around right now. If you're the 49ers fan, or you're a 49ers fan base, you have every right to be peacocking around right now. You beat the brakes off the Cowboys. You make Dak Prescott look like a scared little boy. And then you made the Philadelphia Eagles look like the JV squad. That's what they look like. Congratulations. Enjoy your flowers. Farzetta, your younger brother needs to stop cheerleading and start motivating. Okay, he is older than me. Do not cross the line, Niners all damn day. Nick Sirianni is 1 year older than me. How dare you? Anyway. Against the Niners, it seemed like the Eagles' offense was playing defense and the defense was playing offense, but I don't get it twisted this season. Ain't over. Go Birds. I agree, Real. I agree. Babs. Farzy, I read that. This was the worst loss by a team with the best record this late in the season since the merger. This late in the season? I know it's the worst loss by a team with the best record. I had the numbers for you guys yesterday. I'll give them to you one more time. Just, after this, we'll flush it. I swear to goodness sakes, we'll flush it. Largest road loss, I should say largest home loss versus a team with the outright best record. It was set by the Philadelphia Eagles. 23-point loss is the worst home loss by a team with the outright best record in the NFL. Before that, it was the 2008 Jets beating the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee by 21 points. So, hey, at least the Eagles got a record out of it. It's okay the Cowboys don't belong either. Well, okay. Well, look at us. Look at us agreeing. Birds fan, top of all obvious problems, Philly looked tired and uninspired. This was a week where talent couldn't overcome bad play calling. Brian Johnson isn't patient enough to establish the run. It's been a problem with Sirianni. In Sirianni's regime, Steichen, same way. Now Brian Johnson. It basically comes down to an overall philosophy. And we got into a little bit there with Colin Thomson regarding both Jeffrey Lurie and really this Eagles' philosophy of running the football and being against running the football. Whether that's build in the trenches, do that first and foremost. Andy Reid philosophy he instilled in Joe Banner and Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie. And passing, being pass happy, definitely installed in Jeffrey Lurie. But one of the negative things that's a carryover from Andy Reid is like, the run game, we can abandon it. We'll abandon the run game. No big deal. Niners all damn day. Farzy more concerned with baseball winter meetings. You do one post-game show for a year for the Phillies, and people think all you care about is baseball. Niners all damn day. Come on. Eagles are way overrated. Gee, thanks. Just like those 49ers. Wish Farzetta would keep up with the chat in real time, but that would make his head explode. Yes. There are things I'd try to say. Vince G, imagine if they called Lane Johnson for false starts when he moves back in the pass block a second early before the snap. You know what's really funny about this? That's a common thing throughout the NFL now. Lane Johnson definitely is a beat in front of the snap. But I've noticed that is more common throughout the NFL from the tackle position. There was one egregious case of it. And it's not just like, oh, the refs missed a false start. No, it's almost becoming similar to how they call the play clock. Like if you watched the Monday Night Football game last night, Trevor Lawrence was saying he had one more second. He didn't, but they did call an early delay of game where what they usually do is give that downbeat. Usually it's the look up, they'll see the play clock at 1, and then the quarterback will look to the center again to get the snap. It'll click down to 0. Then the ball is snapped. They allow that little downbeat usually for delay of game. It's almost becoming like that right now with the left tackle and the right tackle position, with those positions leaving early, or at least going back early, where it looks like a false start, and they're giving a little bit of leeway throughout the league. It's not just a Lane Johnson thing anymore. And even dating back to last year's matchup with the Giants and the Vikings in the playoffs, the wild card round of the playoffs, there was an egregious example of that, and they just let it go. And ever since that play, I'm like, oh, he did what Lane Johnson does, and they let him get away with it. And ever since then is when I started noticing it more and more. It happened in last night's Monday Night Football game too. Niners were better than the Eagles last week. This is a true statement. There's no counter to that. Slay is 100 years old at this point. No wonder he doesn't want to tackle in the NFL anymore. That's why the NFL is a garbage product. Did I conversational crutch without further ado? Damn it. Sorry, guys. Did the NFL do random drug test on Debo? They should have. Camel. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Gross. There's the best linebacker. Dr. Mad Hatton. What's going on? Greenlaw is better than Leonard. No, I'm not disagreeing. Dank. Zach Ertz on the way, possibly. And I am all for that. Why? Upgrade. Not savior, but upgrade. Thanks everybody in the chat here on the Jacob Media YouTube channel. Anybody I'm missing? Brother Hannibal, RPOs growing extinct, gonna have problems in Dallas. Yep. Pretty much. Dang, the real reason you signed is because your linebacking core got exposed by D. I mean, without Zach Cunningham, they did not have anything. What up, Farzy? What up, chat? What up, Eagles fan? Wait a minute. I saw that the Eagles are looking to have interest. The interest is growing. Zach Ertz apparently has no interest playing for the Cowboys, so that's cool, I guess. And yes, it's not as outlandish as some people originally thought with Zach Ertz. I didn't see anything where he signed. But I know that there's definitely a mutual interest. So that's the deal there. Anyway, let me get over to the Farzy Show page. Thanks, everybody on Jacob Media. Farzy Show page. What's going on over here? Sean Kilrain, Travis Ricken. What's up, man? Rakeen. Shaq saves the world. My bet's up. All right, well, there you go. April. Good morning, April. Sean Kilrain, him signing here helps this depleted linebacking core, and he can get in coverage, and he's a tackling machine. Yeah, I hope he's all those things, and I hope he's all those things again. Sean Kilrain, what's up? What Howie needs to do is really address the linebacking situation via the draft or via free agency, because it definitely is showing us this season for sure. You agree? Yes, I agree. Nakobe Dean hasn't been able to stay on the field, and when he's been out there, he has not looked like a game breaker. They got a third-round pick. They got a guy that some people thought could go in the late first round, definitely in the second, slipped to the third. Not great. Not great. The guy that I'm more curious about right now, and again, not a linebacker, but an edge rusher, is Nolan Smith. I don't get it. I am still terrified from his comments in the preseason, I think it was, where sometimes his shoulder works and sometimes his shoulder doesn't work. What? Okay. Is he punishment for being able to get Jalen Carter in the first round where you got him? I find you can have him, but Nolan Smith, not so fast. Jason A., what's going on? You mean like Frank Gore's son? What, Frank Gore's son? What? I would definitely draft Frank Gore Jr. He fits. All right, yeah, sure. Run game problem. Sirianni as a receiver. And as a receiver, you have to pass the ball. Oof. I really hope that's not the case. Oh, yeah. Jeremiah Trotters' son? Yes, absolutely. St. Joe's prep standout, just like Marvin Harrison Jr. Go Sixers. Thank you, Farzy. Nick never gets blamed. Also, Lori and Howie are pass. Go Sixers. Tinker Topper? Yeah, Tinker Topper's back. Well, we wasn't going anywhere anyway. Roseman needs to add more elite SEC talent at other positions besides the trenches, skilled positions as well. Yeah. Devontae Smith. That's all I got for you. Let's keep that going. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are fantastic as per usual. My thanks again to our great friend there, Colin Thomson, joining the show, breaking it all down for us, as he always does. Appreciate you guys, as usual. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys use the Farzy promo code at the Game Time app, as well as at mybookie.ag. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Much appreciated. Jim Hyde approves program. I'll catch you guys tomorrow for a fine Wednesday edition of the Farzy Show. See you guys then. Oh, later today, 10:20, I'll be on with my good friend Bill Colarulo for the Philly Sports Power Hour at 10:20. See you guys then. Bye.